Matakana Island is a place you don't hear much about. And that's the way the locals like it. A little strip of land in Tauranga Moana. So close, you'd think it must connect to the mainland somewhere. It's a barrier island, flat, long and narrow, and you can actually walk here when the tide is right. I've seen a map of this place, but I didn't realise when the tide goes out it has a big ring of sand around it. Both openings into the Tauranga harbour, so it's quite an integral piece of Tauranga Moana. Matakana is Ngai Te Rangi territory. They've been here for hundreds of years. At the last census, only 183 people were living on Matakana permanently, and 95%, or 9.5 out of 10 people identify as Māori, and they are fiercely protective of what they have.
What do we want? I think we need some chocolate biscuits. We've been through some battles as an island. There's this worldwide perception about the beauty of an island. It's an island, you know, let's go build there. But the island people, we love it how it is. We love it that we get to say what our future looks like. If you're on the island, you're here because you know someone, so you wave anyway. Yeah. And I've done tourism for a few years on the island, and it was just to cater for that market that always wanted to come over to the island but didn't know anyone. It went well. I think I changed what I wanted to do, moving back to developing our own farm, our own land. This is our blueberry farm. We've gone from being a dairy farm to seasons old as far as harvest.
Do you have a blueberry recipe?
I don't, man, I don't. My wife's trialled a few things on me. The one I found most interesting is blueberry and feta cheese pizza.
Oh, buzzy. That's a buzzy one.
Who could have anticipated the last 2 years? It was challenging, to say the least. But an attitude instilled in me from my parents and my tupuna, you know, don't give up. When you get down to the nitty-gritty, nothing's easy because you just
Nothing's
always...
here, you have to do everything
You have to
yourself.
do it yourself. Yeah. And if there's something you need from town, then you got to line up at their barge, set a day aside. So more often than not, you'll have a crack first before break it, and then you'll find someone to come and fix it.
Man, this is mean.
This is it, man. This is my basic camp. I've just had backpackers in here. They've been stuck in New Zealand for 2 years since COVID. 9 of them stayed here, and they helped us pick the berries. So this is all their stuff that they accumulated over 2 years. So have a look. You guys might find you some shoes. I do kids' school camps. I've made the camp really where the kids do everything. They do their own cooking, they cook on gas, fire, and if they go hungry, it's their fault. They got to learn. We have a big hangi on the last day because they're starving. So yeah, I do a massive hangi on the last day, which they help with. Seems to be almost a bygone thing of kids being able to participate in a hangi and watch it from ground up, you know. Again, you know, those are things it's good to be able to still do, you know, because, they'll disappear. You know, they'll get lost if no one's doing them.
Matakana isn't much of a tourist destination. There's one shop, not a single Airbnb, and no tourist vendors. So if you're coming, it's usually because you know people.
We are in Aotearoa, waiting in line for the barge to get to Matakana Island. I'm excited, a bit nervous, but you just never know what to expect, really. It'll be pretty special to see my koko and my dad together. The love's still there, it's just been a few years, so I'm excited to get everyone back together. I'm like pulling everyone back together. My dad has a complicated relationship with his whānau. They grew up on the island, but fell out with his parents. He ended up leaving and living with his koro in Aotearoa. Yeah, pretty much. From then on, didn't really look back. So at the moment, I'm doing my master's in Māori and Indigenous history. But I guess it was hard learning the history of Māori without knowing my whānau's history and where we come from. There's always been this part of me and my dad that I just didn't know about but always wanted to know. But my dad didn't really talk about it much. So yeah, I just started Googling my koko's name and found a few documentaries on him, and the end of one documentary said that if he could have one thing, it would be for all of his mokopuna and children to return to the island speaking our native tongue. So I felt like he was talking to me, which I guess he was. We're on Matakana Island, on my way to my koko's house, just down the road. It's a long time coming. Not sure how many times I went as a kid, don't really remember, but twice as an adult within the past 6 months, so it's all pretty new, yeah. It's all pretty foreign. It's kind of all just new territory. We're still getting to know each other, really. It's like that weird sense of knowing this person but not really knowing this person. Kia ora. We're in your way, koko. Nice to see you, koko.
Hi. How are you?
All good, how are you?
Oh, well.
Yeah?
God, what a time to come.
Yeah. Took a little while, but we got here.
There's something about visiting an island, like you can't help but slow to the pace of the surroundings. People aren't in a hurry, they're not glued to their phones. The whole place runs on a more relaxed frequency.
It's funny because I feel like we've been really cut off from the world, and then you come here and then you see, you know, everything's right there, Tauranga's right there. And it makes you want to keep this place even more pristine, you know? You don't want that to end up over here. You want to keep it like forest. You want to keep it with as minimal people as possible.
To say Matakana locals are protective of their whenua is a bit of an understatement. They're pretty tuned into the environment, but that hasn't stopped the world's mess from landing on their doorstep at times.
In October 2011, the Rena struck Astrolabe Reef, or Tahiti as we know it, and it sat on the reef for about 5 days. They're trying to work out how they're going to get it off, and then a big storm came and broke the ship apart, and a lot of the contents of the ship obviously was strewn into the ocean and washed up on beaches around Tauranga.
We had 28 kilometres of just crap everywhere. You could definitely feel Tangaroa weeping. Everything you could think of that comes on one of those ships came, even the containers themselves came.
No, we put a call out for all our whānau to try and come home and do what we could.
A whole lot of us bought tractors before even the officials got there to start cleaning up. You know, we just had to do something. We just couldn't sit there and let it all happen. And because we're mindful that the tide comes in and the tide goes out,
We didn't get given a lot of protective clothing. A lot of our family were out there. We didn't realise how toxic or how dangerous the soil was, but even though it's not our mess and we didn't create it, this is our home and we want to make sure that it's looked after. Because in the whole of the world, this little island is all we have.
Porapana whenua. I worked the whenua. I worked with my nannies and koros. So I heard a lot of the tangi. I thought, well, everything I see that is not right, I will fight against. Te hara te whiwai a tamarangi ki, te matera, ko te ka, ore ore ko te rau, te huia hei hinu paranga horo miri miri ki, te kiria. I believe it was back in the 1920s. The land was pane pūrākau. 168 hectares taken under the Public Works Act. They took the land for the benefit of 4 beacons for the ships and for out in the seas. But they took all of that whenua for half a hectare that they needed to put those beacons on. My moko say, fix it when my car say, let's fix it. I just wrap it around like around and round. Just as long as it doesn't swing open, I can fix it, but I can't be bothered. There came a time when enough is enough. We need to try and get this land back. At the beginning, the councils who had it, you know, this big arrogant talk, it was their land to do what they want with it. My stance was always for them, it doesn't belong to you. And neither does it belong to us. This is tipuna whenua. They just treat us like, here's these Maoris coming in the game, we just say, on your bike, which made us more determined. I was kicked out of the room a couple of times. October 2020, they had the vote. There were a couple of councillors that were against it, but who actually turned on the day. Towards the end, we had no opposition from the council. And so just at the end of 21, we had the signing from the council back to the hapu. Our passion for our whenua, for our whakapapa, that's one of the things that we're known for. We're fighters, you know, and we will fight to the end because it's not so much about the money, it's about the whenua.
As we get more populated in our country, these places are going to become even more significant and special. And we've got to find ways to live in the whenua without impacting on it.
When we first came back from university, we had to make our own mahi because if you wanted to live on the island, you had to have a mahi.
So we decided to get into something different, I guess. Hey, and create our own opportunities. This is a mean rako, this is a swamp maere. Anciently, when the UV started coming on, it had to sort of defend itself and it started making antioxidants. It's got like 10 times more antioxidants than blueberries in its leaves.
Apart from making yourselves mahi, why this particular mahi?
We could see the damages that farms and horticultural industries were having on the environment.
So we thought, what better thing to do than build a little nursery? Because a lot of the wetlands and all the tributaries that go into Tauranga Moana were just sort of overgrown. And so they weren't doing their job. Wetlands' job is to filter all the paru from the land before it gets to the moana.
Out there,
yeah.
When we sort of ventured into it, a lot of the places were dumping grounds. You know, we pulled out hundreds of tons out of the wetlands and then replaced it with native trees, and you can see it. You can feel the mauri come back. In the last 3 years, we've probably taken off about 210 tons of recycling that would once go into our rubbish holes and stuff like that. So I thought, if anything's recyclable, it's better being recycled than decomposing in your land blocks. We have multiple roles because we're only a community, probably a couple of hundred people that actually live here. As true kaitiaki, we're carrying out roles that would otherwise be fulfilled by other agencies. Our kaupapa is to sort of help drive innovation, help drive job opportunities, help grow business.
Think he has in here? Wow, here must be a site when they're at full high.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite like this, apart from on the movies. Tell us about what you fellas are doing here.
So this is a partnership we forged with Equalis Research, which is a local company specialising in medical cannabis. This year we've got 8 different varieties, and they all have different health benefits. Some for insomnias, some for arthritic conditions, some for treating cancers.
I guess the whole point of why we set it up is to get all our people into more natural medicines.
10 pills a day.
Yeah, get off all those 10 pills a day. Return to nature, really.
Yeah. And it's sort of a nice medicine to complement our own natural rongoa. Business is not all about money. I'm more interested in growing the tangata and making sure that we fill them up with knowledge, and then they'll fill up the next generation with knowledge.
The people of Ngaiterangi have occupied this land for generations, and they've got plenty of stories to pass along too if you hit them up.
Just further around, there's a park called Tirohanga. It was their role, put up the smoke to this pā over here, let them know what's going on.
Oh, Uncle Bobby. Oh, he's got the information, that guy. Just the character. You can tell he could probably talk for hours and hours. So we're going up to the river. I thought it would have been like a road that went up there, but no. Straight off the beach, up the bush track.
Yep, stop here.
Yeah, scary. I always love kōrero about how places got their ingoa. Would you talk about this area right here?
Absolutely. This is ngā matahekana, typical of how they couldn't pronounce it. So for many years it was known as Matakana. Matakana, even some of our people started calling it Matakana. This particular part here is Te Umuki Maketu. Up that is the Auru pā, and coming down between that and the pā is ngā matakerewhana. When they took their kai and went up there and cooked their kai, and you know what the kai was those days? You know, he taureka reko te kai. And of course, apparently when they pulled out their hangi, you know, pēne hoki ngā mata wasn't cooked. Yeah. So that's the kōrero.
It was good to get all his knowledge, and I feel like he wanted to give even more knowledge, but he probably needs another hour. He needs his own show.
Okay, where we going?
I don't know, but you got to put the sirens on, though.
Oh, you want the sirens?
You have an ambulance?
Yeah, I bought an ambulance. I bought it for $500. I better phone it in. Sirens will still go.
Yeah, nice.
Lights flash.
Keen.
So kids' birthday parties turn up on that. Yeah, it's a treat.
How many siblings in your whānau?
9 of us all up.
And where do you fit in the whole mix?
Oh, mate, I'm the youngest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm the youngest. Youngest of 9.
Is any of your other siblings living over here?
Living over here. It's me and my sister. My other sister's about to move over from Aussie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. A lot of whānau moving home to their whenua. I don't know, that's a trend. I think that seems to be happening a bit. Having this is a way to say, oh, I got a mahi, you know, we've got mahi if you come home. That's the blessing. Having whenua is a great start to be able to do a lot of things.
And have a place.
Absolutely, you know, always come home, you know, no matter where you are, come home, come home, come home.
I think what I want to get out of this little haidinga that I'm on is just, I want my children and my mokopuna to know where they're from and be comfortable on their land.
I've got to tell you guys the full story of Moa, because that's the story of us, about our viewing, getting into Tauranga and all of the things that they did.
Well, you need to write it down, or I need to.
My mokopuna, I'm sorry to say, the last time I saw her, she was only a little baby. And it's good that she has taken her own initiative and come home to meet us, you know, while I'm still here.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool to look around and see where my dad had grown up. It was this weird sense of just feeling like I was at home. It's helped me with my identity so much. Before that it was like, oh yeah, I'm Ngāi Te, my family's from the island, but now I can say I am from the island.
The connection to the land and the ocean is strong for the people we call Matakana home. It's built into them, and their survival depends on it.
What we're going to do is like pull the net out and try and catch us some mullet, maybe a few flounders. Well, have a go anyway. You'll see. Jump on the rope and go from there.
Sweet.
For myself, I've always felt connected to the moana. It's just how I was brought up. You know, we learn to fish, eat the fish, you know, clean the fish, all these things. What a special gift from our people, and you've got to look after it, you know, because they're the things that sustain you your whole life. And they're the things that are going to sustain the next generation's life.
Shark attack. Kawa tēnei.
Hello there. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Populations trying to come here, that's always going to be a threat, forever. All special places have the same problem. We believe some places should be just left alone for the beauty of nature, for the beauty of continuing the mātauranga, continuing the mahi of the tupuna.
And that really sums up the mood here on Matakana. They're holding on tight to their lifestyle and ways of doing things. And that's a beautiful thing. It's really nice to know that this way of life is still thriving on these special places.
Yeah, very privileged to be over here. Everything is slow-paced, no one's in a rush. Everyone's really resourceful. You have to be, because I don't know how many barges, 3 or 4 per day, if you need anything on the mainland, so you've got to be able to make do with what you've got over here. And the people here are beautiful people, very welcoming. The manaakitanga is top-notch, and it feels like everything they do is for the benefit of this island and their whakapapa, and carrying that on, hopefully for their children and their mokopuna.